Yo! Hello. This is such a professional enterprise. I love it.
Shut up.
Hey, what's going on?
We're pros.
We're pros. It's time. The last 3 games of the qualifiers finish tomorrow.
We don't even need to think about it.
We don't even need to think about it. It's today.
This is about the future.
This is about the future. We are here to reveal your prelims slices.
Yeah.
For the games starting next weekend. And if you're in the prelims and you're like, I don't know about no games next weekend, you'd be right. Email pending. We're going to schedule them. Here's the thing about the prelims. I know that somebody's going to be like, I'm ready anytime. So I've kind of already accepted that some folks are just going to be able to dive into games this coming weekend, even though it will be quite short notice. For the rest of you, don't worry. There will be, we got 12 weeks of these things. We're going to be fine. You're going to get in a game. All right. Hunter, are you ready to reveal these slices and, more importantly, these slices' names?
Yes. I would like to say, before you see the names of the slices, we decided to dial it back a little bit because I want us to kind of turn the clock back. If you noticed with the slice names, it's been a little bit of a space race of us going right for the wildest names each time, and it was getting tired. Honestly, it was getting tired. So we've dialed it back.
Yes.
We've dialed it back. That they are simple, honest slice names.
If you remember Tournament 1, we just had we didn't know what names could be, and we just had names like Big and Tight.
Yeah.
Fast
and
and
Little
Loose.
and Tight. Yeah.
Little and Tight. So we're kind of going, we wanted this to be classic. These are the prelims. These are classic names. So
and also to just kind of like not be, people are thinking we're joking. James,
so you'll be disappointed. We are serious.
We are being
There's
serious.
There's some funny ones, but
it's not a bit. We're not doing a bit. We're being honest. We want to be taken seriously today. All right, that's all. They're not jokey names. They just describe what the slice is about and then we get out of there.
Yeah.
And then the semifinals, things will get wilder. People really wanted one of the slices to be named. My slice is also named Bort. We are banking that.
Yeah.
There is not a slice called that. We are banking that. You will feel that slice name perhaps in the semifinals.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's begin the reveals. Also worth noting, we will also reveal the faction sets, just like we did last time. We won't go into them. We won't talk about them at length, but we will we'll flash them up at the end of the stream at the end of this stream today. So, your first slice is Mechatol Rex. Wow, somebody just starts with Mechatol Rex. No. Your first slice is... Come on, do it. Nope, this one. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. Kablamo! It's soft launch.
Soft launch.
You got your new restaurant. You got your lovely little Italian restaurant here, and you know what? You need to start and invite some people in early before the proper opening, so you do yourself a little soft launch. Of note, 1 system with planets adjacent to home.
Right.
Yikes.
Right. Yeah. It's rough. But you end up, with 5 influence once you filled out your slice, and there's another 3 influence in the equidistant that you may or may not get access to. This is, as far as expectations go, I would say this is actually kind of right down the middle.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we were able to get Loki, Abaddon, and because I feel
the goal of this prelims was we've done a handful of like sets at this point, and there's tiles that keep never getting to show up, and Abaddon, Loki, Astaroth, is one of them. So I'm just doing my best to put in not a Cohen Jail ear in every single map. Right.
We called it soft launch though because round 1 you just don't do a lot.
Yeah.
There's 1 activation. You will probably do other things, right? But round 1, you're going to 1 space and taking 3 planets.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Chat is pointing out seems fairly poor. Looks like we'll get not so rich slices. This is about In terms of totals, like this is a 3-5. For those wondering, like on YouTube and stuff, we always get this question. That 3-5 is a optimal value, meaning you Abaddon and Ashtroth are 3 reliable resources. Yep. Loki and Mehar Zul are 5 reliable influence. That's within your slice. So we call this a 3-5 with a red skip. So yeah, that total, that $8 total value, that's about on par. Not far from it. So
yeah, a lot of I feel like there's a lot of factions that will do well here. There are some factions that I feel like won't do so well here. As compared to some of the other slices that you will see, I feel like positionally is not the worst. We gave you a nebula adjacent to home. The other side is empty space, but there's no wormhole. There's no backdoor into the slice. Yeah. Okay, so not too bad.
Right. Okay, let's go to our second slice. It's the Wingslayers dugout.
Yeah.
We're here to play ball. Why is it called the Wingslayers dugout?
Because you have the good side of an alpha wormhole.
Yep.
And that alpha wormhole is going to take you to the home system of 2 other slices. We will go ahead and reveal that. There are 2 other slices that you will be able to access very easily, the home system. Yep. Also, I feel like it's the Wingslayers dugout because this slice does not have a whole lot going on. It's just kind of a list of good, or not really good, just kind of decent planets.
Things.
Yeah. Only 3 influence, which is kind of a bummer.
Pretty rough.
Even if you take your equidistant, it's only 3. I mean, it's not great on influence.
Yeah, we'll see where that alpha wormhole goes and see if that helps your problem. But also, you're probably relying on that left neighbor's equidistant being some better influence, which I believe the influence is a bit rare actually in the equidistance. So it is a tough one. So it's the Wingslayers dugout because you got a lot of potential for plastic. You can have up to 9 reliable resources, right? And then use this for your 1 command counter per round. So it's like tons of plastic, but maybe a lack of ability to like do a ton of actions per round. So we'll see. This one I question, and I think this is the theme of this year's prelims. Is Hunter? You described it as you want every slice to have like 2 things going for it, and I would say every slice kind of has 2 things going for it and 1 thing working against it, and that's sort of our goal.
Yeah, and everyone is pointing out that it's 3 influence and that's rough, and that's kind of the theme this year. Yeah. We are working on cutting down on the amount of influence that we provide per slice. Yeah. Except for perhaps with this next one.
Well, and I will say too, I mean, people don't love to do this, but Bakal has 2 influence. If you're like Hakan and you got that 0-1 at home, I mean, if you get these 2, you got 6 resources. 6 resources is enough to survive on for a round, and so if you need the extra influence, you can make sacrifices. We don't prevent you from making sacrifices, so it's a thing.
Yeah, I actually think, depending on the faction, you'll probably see a lot of people spending Bakal for influence, and I don't think that's the wrong play at all. That's why we gave you Lodor. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also worth noting, people are saying, isn't this a green-yellow slice? Again, for our purposes, the equidistant we don't count as part of your slice. So this is a green. You're close to a yellow. But
I'll get on a soapbox. This is not like we have never ever. The logic has never ever been that equidistants belong to anyone. Right. They do not. I don't care if it's in the slice you draft in multi-draft. What you're getting in multi-draft is an understanding of what one of your equidistants is, for planning purposes. But you have no claim to that. Right. No claim at all.
Right. All right, next up, our third slice is the Custodians Gambit. We've given you the influence to take your shot, and you've got the slingshot to go for it, and it's up to you of how you make that work. I'll note, too, there's an alternate path if you can make it work. Drafters, beware. I would not let a blue faction into the slice, because if a blue faction can get starts with anti-mass and can get gravity drive, Custodians Gambit can just go to Lodor and take Mechatol Rex that way. You do not have to take the Gambit, but you might be threatening the player in Wingslayer's dugout. So drafters, this might need to be like a first pick kind of slice, or make sure the blue factions don't end up here.
And also, it's already being called out in the chat, but this is, we have specifically placed that alpha wormhole there as far as the bad side goes. We are anticipating that Orange Slice will be considered maybe not the best, but on the top half, which means if you're drafting correctly, you should not let someone get this slice
Yep.
and a great faction.
Yep.
That should be the goal, is to not do that.
Yeah, chat pointing out this one also breaks some rules. This is a rule breaker. We got 1, 2, 3 red-backed tiles. You'll note that this one is 4 blue-backed tiles. So between blue and orange, they sort of offset each other. But in games where one of the two is in the game and the other is not, it's kind of an illegal map. Oopsie. But I don't care. It's fun. Corman and Everett always throw off that math, right? So I'm just trying to get like the right amount of empty tiles into stuff. So the question again, I'll just reiterate it. 4, 6, R. The R is for the red skip. The 4 is for the optimal use of these 2 resources and these 2 resources, and the 6 is for the optimal use of this 6 influence. I don't really care about the totals as much, although the totals are relevant sometimes, and that gets considered, but not as much in multi-draft these days. I used to think about totals versus optimal more in pre-made maps, but not so much anymore. But yeah, this is a big gambit with a huge Wingslay potential. You could get your butt kicked there in the late game in a pretty significant way. I'm just going to reveal it while Hunter's loading back in. It's between a rock and a slow place. Here's our other end of the alpha, once again adjacent to a home system, but of course that asteroid field alpha. So you've got kind of maybe a one-way gate, depending on who ends up there. The other side of your home system is Everest, so you got a nebula, super crazy defensive. This is probably our most defensive slice. Very hard to get in here.
Positionally, you have big advantages here, and you also have access to Primor. But you are not, that alpha with the asteroid field, you are not completely safe, obviously.
And if you don't research anti-mass, you could be in a lot of trouble if somebody else does get it. You're also notably basically neighbors with Custodians Gambit, no matter what. If both of those tiles are in a slice, they don't even have to be next to each other to be next to each other, right?
Yes.
They both have the alpha wormhole adjacent to home, so they are right next door. And I'll also note that the center tile of this slice is awful for a forward dock, right? So your forward dock is like maybe Evra, which always kind of stinks because then your stuff moving out of Evra is too slow, and then your other option is like Primal. It's like not a great option for forward docking. So you've got defenses, but it's hard to like make your presence known out there in the field, is my vibe.
Yeah. I would say this is a slice that anytime a slice is good positionally, I consider that kind of an absolute value.
Yeah.
Where I would probably rank this slice a little higher than maybe some people would.
Right.
Because I'm thinking about that in round 4 or in round 5, you're going to be very happy with this slice.
Yeah.
And Primor as the forward dock, I feel like is the play as far as forward docks are concerned. So you got to be careful about letting a really good faction into this slice as well.
Yep.
There's plenty of decent slices that we're going to be talking about. So it'll be hard to figure out who belongs in what.
Right.
But I like this one a little better than maybe
I think this is
like
a top
other people
pick.
will.
This is probably... Now, the thing is, and maybe people are noting this, I don't know how people are, you can never predict how people are going to feel. The goal so far, and what I think will maintain to be true, is I think the slices are all relatively on par with each other. We did not do a mama's drama in this setup. So there's no slice that is the de facto obvious, gotta first pick that if in
it's
the draft.
competitive.
It is it's more competitive than that. That being said, I think this is probably a top runner depending on the factions that end up. There are probably factions that are scary to let happen here. You probably dive on this one hoping you get something good, and who knows what happens on the other side.
Yeah.
Let's do our next slice. It's the glass house. Sort of the opposite of between a rock and a slow place.
Yeah, this one I don't think is so good. This one, we gave you 6 influence.
Yep.
And then the way the slice is set up is real mean. You got a gravity rift. You got an empty in the middle.
Yep. Your stuff is weird. Accessible. People can get into your all your stuff, right? Atlas, they can cut. I mean, you got to probably protect Atlas in a major way, and you got to figure out you got to gum this up. Like there are issues to the slice, but I think you have a comfortable. I mean, this is as comfortable as the values get. You have a blue skip to make sure you can get gravity drive to sort of make the movement of this slice work, right? We almost put the gravity rift in the center here. That was a Wecker suggestion, was to put the gravity rift in the center, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it. Part of it just because that seemed scary, but also there was some stuff about I'm trying to make sure anomalies don't like all end up next to each other, and putting one in the center of the slice kind of guarantees.
Oh, and the math is wrong actually. Molo Dude and somebody else just pointed out it's actually a 5/6.
It is a 5/6,
not a 4/6.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. That was a good call. What is the hotkey for that? F7?
I don't know.
Yeah. Kablammo.
Hopefully you're not watching
for
this
the
with the audio
screenshots.
off.
For the screenshots, everybody, there it is. Fixed it for you.
There we go.
Okay.
But yeah, this is I would say this is actually a bad slice. We've given you 6 influence, but I think there's a lot of problems. There are some factions that are not going to care about the problems, obviously.
Right.
So depending on the pool, this slice might get like more action than but I feel like it's not, the positional problems are maybe not worth it.
I think this is the kind of one where you get a good faction, you get something really good that can make it work in this slice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if Argent can make it work in this slice, but that's the first thing that comes to mind is like an Argent kind of thing where it's like I can fill out my whole slice immediately. And
I feel like Argent would be a bad pick because now
you don't have anything in the center of your slice.
And Hollow Lattice isn't gonna keep people out of your slice.
Exactly. Yeah. A bad example, but the idea of that movement, it's maybe like a Titan slice or something.
Yeah.
All right.
That might be cool.
Let's go on to our next one. It's the grand opening. We had the soft launch. This is their counterpart. This one, what a killer round 1. Things work out really well for you. But if you're not an anti-mass faction, I don't know how great your odds are at Mechatol. That being said, similar to some of the slices earlier, this beta, you could jump to Atlas if you somehow can make that work. But that's tricky, especially if we're talking about someone who started with anti-mass. Like, are we talking about a faction that starts with DET and gets Gravity Drive and goes that way? I don't know.
Yeah.
But you have a great start. Hope's End, 3 influence, and a Semlor next door.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 4 planets to take round 1, which actually has been fairly not completely standard, but almost standard.
Almost every single slice is 4 planets. I think there's only one with 5 planets in the slice.
Yeah, you have the bad side of a beta wormhole, and just to kind of spoil something, I know that you're already aware of where Atlas is because of the glass house. There is another good side beta that we have placed in the final slice. So grand opening will be at risk for winslaying as well. We did not give Hope's End in the middle of a slice and then not throw out a backdoor. There are obviously some factions with great mechs that are gonna love grand opening. A lot of people, I feel like, in the map lab and the testing have said that this is the best slice. I think it is possibly the best slice. For me, I think it's like, I kind of put yellow and purple on a similar place for similar reasons, actually. I kind of like purple's, the fact that we got Primor and we have defensive positioning, I think is nice. However, obviously, the caveat for yellow is that you do not have as defensive a slice, but you do get Hope's End round 1, which is pretty great.
Pretty huge.
Yeah. So I think there's going to be a lot of debate between yellow, purple, and orange as far as the kind of top half. But yellow is on purpose good. So there you go.
And to finish the job, our 7th slice is the best name. It's Twilight Imperium 4th edition.
Yeah.
Why is it called that?
Yeah, it's because all of these are all Twilight Imperium 4th edition hexes, including the Supernova
and the empty. No POK. This is base game only for the champs. Also, it's like old reliable. 4 planets adjacent to home. Nothing to worry about in the equidistant. Nothing to do out on the perimeter. You just you take this slice, you sit, and maybe you win the game because you just sit there.
But also, you are the Windslayer for Yellow Slice.
Yes, you have a job to do.
You have a job to do with keeping Yellow Slice in check. Green Slice, I just want to go ahead and meta play a little bit. If anybody ever tries to tell Green Slice that they're in charge somehow with the Atlas, no. Green Slice is not in charge. But we've got Red Slice looking at Yellow Slice, which I think is important. And Red Slice is really nice. It's really just like kind of hanging out.
Really good.
It's.
I would say its biggest fallback is, if you get if empty tile, if ships or if systems without planets comes up, that supernova is always a pain in the butt. We intentionally, what we have learned about multi-draft or about POK in general is the supernova on the edge of the board is the worst thing that can happen because not only is it blocking 3 without planets, but it's also blocking 3 on the edge of the game board, and to have somebody crushed that hard by 2 objectives is
exactly
rough. So
yeah,
I think you're going to start seeing more supernovas kind of in these 2 positions from now on. So yeah, this is to me, this is the slice I would go for, because I just want to like maybe find a win in my own slice. It's got a planet of every trait adjacent to home too. So Explorer's Delight, like you can get lots of exploring done if you need to dig for fragments and whatnot.
I think for red slice, I mean, I'm making a lot of predictions about how people are going to receive these slices, which is probably unwise, right? But I think with red slice, that's more of one where I feel like I could pick faction first.
Yeah.
And kind of match my faction to this.
Especially if you're like 4th pick, like you can get a good combo going with this slice.
It's going to be all about yellow, purple, orange, and then I think red and pink are kind of underneath those, with like kind of blue and green being like the weirdo slices. That's my read on these slices.
Right. Yeah, you can kind of see where I do my math. This is how I build slices. I'm going to do a video at some point about like how I work, what happens in the shed. But you can tell too, I think this counter is right. Goondock and I work really hard on making sure the planet values are relatively even. So cultural 12, hazardous 12, industrial 10. The attempt is that the removal of any slice doesn't take out too many of a particular trait. So hopefully it's always kind of an even spread. Chat's pointing out no Baragler to Ford, no Abysfria, no Ako and Jaolier, no Starpoint, no Alumen. Yeah, the big scary tiles are all gone. This is the meanest prelims map we've ever had. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty mean. And a lot of it was about, just kind of like doing a lot of stuff differently this time.
Yep.
I really liked how we mapped out the wormholes.
Yes.
I think the wormhole mapping was the most important part of this one.
Yeah.
We thought a lot about round 5 with these slices, and I'm into that. Yeah, so no Jolier Cam this year.
Sorry,
Jolier Cam is canceled for this year.
Hey, you had a lot, and you had maybe the best Jolier camera we've ever had from Wecker. Wecker had like a whole graphical nightmare of a Jolier camp, so you got it. We can't top it, so what's the point in trying, right?
Right.
Hunter, do we want to real quickly before we sign off here show everybody the faction sets?
Yeah, we'll show them the faction sets.
As if it matters. You can do what you want with this information. I don't know how it could be useful.
For the weirdos, you could look at your faction pools.
There are 9 of them, all of which contain 7 factions, which we intentionally made it to where... Sorry, I said 9. 12. There are 12 sets, which means half of the factions occur in 4 sets, and half of the factions occur in 3 sets. So here we go. This is your final set. Here you go. Enjoy that. I'll leave it up on the screen for a minute. But Hunter, how do you feel about the prelims? Are you excited?
I'm really excited. I think that we're going to learn a lot this year. I think we're being a little more bold about the prelim slices than we have been in past years.
The qualifiers were so big that became our safe round, whereas the prelims, I mean, 80 players out of the 216 have proven a win, so the competition is actually a little bit fiercer this year. So I think we had to adjust for that.
Yeah, I think the pools. So the pools are interesting. We actually just edited the pools as they were based on data from the first round.
I took out some of the... It's all low numbers, but we took out the ones where it's like, hey, Mahawk won 4 out of 6 games in this pool or whatever. I completely removed those, and then we made some minor adjustments to a bunch of them, took out 1 faction from each of the sets, so it's kind of like a hodgepodge version of 12 of the qualifier sets.
Right, yeah. So it's just kind of like edits there. It'll be really fun to get to the semifinals and then the finals as far as pool goes to really, really go ham on thinking about that.
Yeah.
I hope you like the slices. The slices are not made to, please everyone. You're not going to love every slice. You're going to be like, oh, I don't like this slice. I don't like this slice. And that's the whole point, right?
The goal was to not have a mama's drama chili dogs situation as best as we could. That's going to happen no matter what. The numbers, there's going to be a worse slice. I can't control it. We do our best. But the goal was to bring everything in line with each other, but give them all benefits and drawbacks, and let faction sort of dictate when a slice is actually good. So there's a slice that could be terrible unless SAR gets there, unless Titans gets, I'm hoping there's a lot of that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, and I hope we'll see that, and I hope we see a lot of vicious win slaying in the prelims. It was very much built with that consideration in mind. So
Yep.
Really
a lot
excited,
of games going to tiebreaker, I think.
Yeah,
a lot of games where somebody can't pull it out in round 5 because they all dunk on each other, and then oops, time to tie break. Oh well.
Yeah, people are pointing out that Hakan is never in a pool without Mentak. Yeah, there you go. That's
what's the other one? Oh yeah, we removed catfishing too. There's no catfishing. There's no Jolnar Hakan.
Catfish is out for this round. Yeah. No catfishing. Yeah. And Hakan Mentak rivalry is going to be hardcore this year. So yeah, I mean, like we went with actually Arwise is pointing out right now. The pools are built for entertainment. Yeah. And every year there's going to be different, kind of gimmicks as far as these pools are concerned. So, like, we are just asking you to adjust. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Also, Hakan does quite well in tournaments. Hakan defines tournaments.
Hakan's fine. We had to sort of find ways to slow them down maybe a bit. I don't know if we'll succeed. Who cares? Here's the reality: is it doesn't matter that we took half the factions out of one game, because one of these slices is going to get like 6 games on it anyways, just because the dice roll. So it's like it doesn't matter what we do, but we tried to limit it a little bit. Did we mention when emails are going out? I didn't, but very soon, by Monday. They gotta be out by Monday. So I'm hoping to do it today or tomorrow, though. But tomorrow my day is very full with game number 80 of the qualifiers on Tabletop Playground, the inaugural attempt at a game on TTPG. So join us tomorrow at noon Central, 1800 UTC for the very last qualifier game. Right.
Totally true. People are pointing out Jolnar never has to be with Mentak. I feel like, Jolnar might have a good run in the prelims. Have you noticed, though, some of the Jolnar sets are specifically kind of built around the fact that Jolnar is in the set, in my opinion. Yep. There are here's Jolnar and a bunch of factions that like to punch, essentially. So we'll see how that plays out.
Right. I want to see more early pressure on Jolnar. That's what I want to see. So we gave a lot of tools to do that. How many prelims will be Tabletop Playground? I don't know. We got to see how tomorrow goes, right? We got to know how good the tool works. I want to do a lot of them, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Anyways, that's all I got.
That's all I got. Thank you all. Yeah. Thank you for joining us for this little slice reveal. Here's your look one more time at a zoomed out approach to these things. Doesn't matter, but we will see you tomorrow at 1800, and we will see you next weekend for the debut of these slices. Hunter, are you playing with these slices on Sunday?
On Sunday, I am playing a mock tournament game with some cool players. Yeah. Me and some cool people are going to play a mock prelims game with these slices. So tune into that. That will start at 11 a.m. Eastern time this Sunday.
All right, everybody. Love you. Love your hair. Hope you win. Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye.